Quiet.
Are any of you familiar with the story of Lord of the Rings? Where Frodo the Hobbit has to go destroy the ring that his uncle found, and then there's a big volcano and everything kind of explodes. And then it's all happy. In the Fellowship, in the movie, when Frodo gets stabbed by the Nazgul, Arwen, Elrond's daughter, rescues him. In the book, that didn't happen. In the book, it was Glorfindel, a male elf, who rescued Frodo, and Elrond, Arwen's father, summoned the river horses that killed the Nazgul's horses. And this is helping me lead to my point that Tolkien is sexist. Many people in the world have not been at least opposed to the women's rights movement. And while Tolkien did write the trilogy before the movement really took it into swing, I believe, because he wrote it in the 50s and 40s, some parts even earlier, there is still a very minimal female characters in the book. And all you could argue that Eowyn did kill the Nazgul Witch King, she had to do so under the guise of a man. She would have been kicked out of the army had she gone as herself, because of the sexism that was inherent in the culture. And Tolkien could have easily created a more egalitarian society in Middle-earth. And I respect Tolkien very highly as a writer, because his writing is beautiful to me. It gets wordy, but I still really enjoy it. In The Hobbit, which Tolkien wrote for his children in the 30s, I believe that time is right, there are no female characters of any remote consequence. There's Bilbo and the dwarves and Gandalf and Smaug and a few of the elves. They are all male. Even the spiders are male or have no sex. And he could have easily stuck a female, even if he had stuck Galadriel in The Hobbit instead of saving her for the trilogy, he could have made a slightly less male-centric book that's so well known. And in The Fellowship, Arwen did not do a whole lot. She more or less sat there and was the object of Aragorn's affection. And while it is played up as a big love story, she still, frankly, is not a big major character. And while I wasn't surprised that there were no female characters in the Company of the Ring, because none of the people sent out ambassadors that were female, and most of the people there are probably more prized for their physical prowess rather than how well they could think something over, because they had to protect Frodo, they did have to help aid Frodo in his quest, but they had to protect him through harsh conditions as well as aid the quest. And the women, most of the women, Eowyn being a big exception, are too physically, not exactly frail, but not powerful enough to have done that. But in the Council of Elrond in Rivendell, there were no female characters. But there could have easily been Galadriel or Arwen. There weren't. Or among the elves, and the elves are the great old race of people in Lord of the Rings. In the movie, Peter Jackson had to leave out Tom Bombadil probably due to time constraints. And some people could say that Goldberry, Tom Bombadil's wife, is a somewhat major character, but she also didn't do a whole lot. It was Tom Bombadil, the forest spirit old person, that only person in the book series that wasn't affected by the ring, that saved Merry and Pippin from the old willow tree. And Goldberry was basically his housekeeper, who sat there and looked pretty and charmed the hobbits with her beauty, which is all very nice, but it is somewhat subjectifying females. And Galadriel, she was quite a powerful female character, and much like Boromir, a human, but Galadriel was an elf, she was also tempted by the ring, but that could have easily happened to anybody. So Galadriel's so cool. Eowyn had to pose as a man to kill the Witch King in the Battle of the Pelennor Fields after she saw her favorite uncle get killed from falling off his horse. And she would not have been able to do that had she gone as a woman. And in the end, Eowyn falls in love with Faramir and gets rid of the warrior princess deal and is basically his housewife. And as the books have already been published for 50 years, there's not a whole lot you can do about that, but please consider that Tolkien, while a wonderful writer, is somewhat sexist. Thank you.